A billionaire CEO, poised to close the most important deal of his career, is about to lose everything. The meeting with a major Chinese client, which promises millions, is at risk because the highly paid translator he hired is nowhere to be found. Tension rises as minutes tick by, and the CEO frantically tries to find a solution. But just as the deal teeters on the edge of disaster, someone unexpected steps in, a janitor. He's been cleaning the floors of this high-rise for years, but today he's about to do something that will change everything. How could a man who mops floors be the key to saving the billion-dollar deal? The answer will force everyone in the room to confront their assumptions, their prejudices, and the deep-seated injustices they've been blind to for years. The towering glass building of the CEO's tech company gleams under the midday sun, a symbol of power and success. Inside, the atmosphere is tense. A meeting with a high-profile Chinese client is about to take place. The CEO, a confident man with an impeccable reputation, walks briskly through the hallways, preparing his team for the pitch. His company has grown exponentially, and this deal will propel him into a new league of business moguls. He's excited, but there's also pressure, immense pressure. His entire team is on edge. The conference room is ready. The client, a powerful figure in China's tech industry, is waiting. The translator, a prestigious professional who has translated for other billionaires, is supposed to be there to bridge the language gap, but there's no sign of him. Minutes pass, and the CEO begins to pace, his anxiety mounting. He checks his phone, sending frantic texts to the translator. But there's no response. At this point, the CEO's panic grows, and the team begins to feel the weight of the situation. They try calling the translator's office, but the line is busy. The clock is ticking. The CEO's assistant suggests calling someone else, but it's clear there's no time to find another translator. This meeting is scheduled to happen now. And then, just as things seem doomed, Marcus walks in. He's the building janitor, someone the CEO and his team hardly notice. He's been with the company for years, cleaning up after the executives, his face always unnoticed, his presence never questioned. But today, Marcus seems different. He enters the conference room, pushing his cleaning cart, just as the CEO is about to lose his composure. Seeing the growing chaos, Marcus calmly steps forward and offers to help. He says he can speak Mandarin fluently. Everyone laughs nervously, dismissing him as another inconvenience in the midst of a stressful day. But Marcus is unshaken. He insists that he lived in China for several years and is proficient in Mandarin. The CEO, desperate and skeptical, turns to him. "You can help us?" Marcus nods. The CEO hesitates but realizes there is no other option. With a resigned sigh, he tells Marcus to take a seat. As the call begins, the tension in the room is palpable. The Chinese client, clearly impatient, looks at the CEO, waiting for the meeting to proceed. Without a translator, the deal could be over before it even begins. The CEO's pulse races as Marcus sits down and prepares to translate. At first, Marcus's Mandarin is hesitant, but as he grows more comfortable, it's clear that he is more than capable. His fluency, his understanding of both the language and the cultural nuances, astonishes everyone in the room. The client, who had been growing increasingly frustrated with the lack of communication, begins to relax. Marcus seamlessly navigates through the complex topics, making sure that every word, every idea, is conveyed accurately. The CEO, who had been ready to blame the situation on everyone but himself, starts to feel the weight of his own ignorance. How had he never known that the janitor, someone he'd never thought twice about, was capable of such intelligence, of such skill? As the meeting continues, something changes in the room. The CEO notices the discomfort in the eyes of his team. The once dismissive attitude toward Marcus, based purely on his race and occupation, is replaced with shock and guilt. They realize that they had reduced him to nothing more than his job title, never once considering the depth of his potential. The uncomfortable truth starts to sink in. Marcus is not just cleaning their floors, he's cleaning up their biases. The meeting continues, and Marcus's translation becomes increasingly seamless. The CEO and his team watch, transfixed, as the janitor expertly navigates the conversation. The deal is moving forward, but as the discussion progresses, the weight of the situation becomes almost too much to bear. The CEO, his mind racing, begins to realize the depth of the injustice. Here was Marcus, someone he'd known for years, yet never once asked about his background, his story, his capabilities. Marcus had been invisible, his race, his job, all had been assumptions that locked him into a role that never considered his worth. The turning point comes when the client, satisfied with the negotiation, gives a nod of approval, signaling the deal's success. The CEO stands, his mind swirling with the implications of what just happened. But Marcus doesn't stand up. Instead, he quietly looks up at the CEO and says, "You see, it's not where you are or who you are on the outside that matters. It's what you bring to the table that counts." For a moment, the CEO is speechless. The words hit harder than anything else. He realizes that he, just like so many others, has been blinded by his own biases. Marcus, the janitor, was the key to this deal, and in doing so, he showed the CEO that real talent, real value, doesn't come wrapped in the package that society expects. The meeting concludes, and the deal is signed. But for the CEO, the victory feels hollow. As Marcus quietly leaves the room, the CEO is left standing in front of the window, watching the skyline, deep in thought. The deal may have been secured, but something far more valuable has shifted within him. Marcus, the janitor, the man he had so casually ignored for years, had just taught him a life-altering lesson. For days after, the CEO can't shake the thought of how he had been so blind to the people around him. How many others had he overlooked, dismissed, or underestimated simply because of their race, their job, or their appearance? He starts to question the very foundation on which his empire was built. It's not just the deal that matters, it's the realization that true greatness lies in seeing people for who they truly are, not in the roles they play. As the story unfolds, the CEO makes a conscious decision to change. He begins by reaching out to Marcus, offering him a higher position within the company. He starts making real efforts to understand the overlooked employees, the ones working in the background, and he learns their stories. Through this journey, the CEO becomes more aware of the subtle racism and biases that run deep in his company, and he works tirelessly to correct them. The final question lingers in the air. How many people do we overlook simply because we fail to see their true worth? The story ends with a call to action, urging the audience to reflect on their own biases and the people they've dismissed without ever truly understanding who they are or what they bring to the table.